I probably sucked more today than anyone in the history of Kung Fu, in the history of China, in the history of sucking.
Probably.
Maybe I should just quit and go back to making noodles.
Quit, don't quit. Noodles, don't noodles. You are too concerned with what was and what will be. There's a saying, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
You ever look at yourself? I mean, really look? All to just feel like you've been holding back? Like there's something inside you that's waiting, but you keep putting it off. Not because you're lazy, but because you got used to surviving instead of building. And now, somewhere deep down, there's this part of you that's done making excuses. This isn't about chasing some perfect image, about who you're supposed to be. It's about finally becoming someone you can respect. Start with your body, not because looks matter the most, but because your body is the vessel that carries your mind. See, your willpower and your energy get trained when you push it. Even when it fights back, you start to realize that you're capable of more than you've been telling yourself. That soreness, that burn, that voice that says quit, that's the wall between who you've been and who you're becoming. And every time you push through, you're leaving the old version of you behind. Piece by piece, you're not just building strength, you're building trust with yourself. You're saying, I'll show up even when I don't feel like it. I'll do what needs to be done, no matter how small it looks to the world. That's what separates people who dream from people who do. Now let's talk about the part no one sees, your mindset.
I wasn't even good at high school, but that didn't matter. I just wanted to accomplish something. And yeah, maybe at first I was just trying to impress my girlfriend. But I wouldn't be standing up here if that was all there was to it. I took what I was told were the easiest classes, and I still had to do stuff, like scale the wall of a cave. I had to go to China, which is very far away for those of you that didn't go to high school. I even had to beat a guy in a takeout food race. Sounds pretty hard, right? Well, warning! What I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. Once you do the hard stuff, it becomes not that hard. I may not be the man I used to be, the one who didn't graduate from high school, but unexpectedly, awesomely, I could still do the fun stuff he did. In fact, my Alley Fight Dude's 4 score has never been better. I've come a long, long way, and in the end, I still get to be me, but better.
Mental toughness isn't something you're born with. It's trained, it's built every time you face your own thoughts. It's built when you start questioning lies. Your insecurities have been feeding you for years. Growth happens when you choose to keep showing up, even when anxiety whispers that you're behind. It's learning how to breathe when the pressure mounts. It's understanding that your peace is not tied to how loud or chaotic the world around you is. You train your mind with focus, by setting boundaries, by choosing who you listen to, by deciding what takes up space in your day. And in your head, day by day, you become unshakable. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you're no longer afraid of the storm. The best version of you isn't built in a single day. It's built in the invisible. Choices that no one will clap for. The days you don't skip meals. The moments you choose progress over perfection. And the times you walk away from comfort because your future matters more than your feelings. These things might look small to the outside world, but to your future self, they're everything. The meals, the workouts, the journal entries and prayers. They compound, they stack until one day you look up and barely recognize who you used to be. You don't feel the change happening at first, but one day you'll realize the things that used to break you no longer hold that same power. Look, if you're serious about building this version of you, and you are in this for real, drop a comment that says how you are building the best version of yourself today and what challenges you are currently overcoming. I want to know who's out there putting in the work. Now, this next concept might shock you, but it is inevitable if you are successful. One day someone will ask how you made it. They'll see how sharp your focus is and how calm you are in chaos. They will also notice how much you've grown and wonder, were you always like that? And you'll remember the late nights, the skipped parties, especially the lonely mornings. You'll remember the fear, the doubt, the discipline, and most of all, the moments where you almost gave up, but didn't. But most of all, you'll remember that you were the one who decided to change. And it wasn't because anyone told you to, but because you were done living beneath your potential. Look, you don't need to become the loudest person in the room, or be the most talented, the most gifted, or the most followed person on TikTok. You just need to be the most consistent, honest, and the most hard-working version of yourself, so that you become 1% better each day, no matter how quiet the progress may be. That version of you you're chasing already exists, and they're waiting on the other side of your daily decisions. And the real question is, are you going to meet them or stay where you are? This is only the beginning of the end. Watch this other video on the screen to continue your growth journey, and make sure to subscribe. We believe in you and your potential. God bless.